How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set to 6. We're done with all the theory videos. You can check out the last theory video before Rebirth. I dropped it yesterday. But today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 7 things that you should be keeping an eye out for in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe for future content. There's going to be a lot more content coming now over the next few months. Once Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out, we're going to have guides, we're going to have discussions, we're going to have everything. So don't miss out. But here are the 7 things that you should watch for in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And the first of these things is the sheer number of minigames that are going to be in the game. We have got an insane amount of minigames, probably more than we've even seen. There'll be minigames that we don't even know about yet. Just to name a few, you've got the G-Bike, you've got Queen's Blood, which is the big new card game, you've got some weird frog hopping game, which I'm kind of interested by, I kind of want to play this. You've got a little football game that Red 13 seems to run around and play, so rather than kicking the ball at Red 13, it seems Red's going to be the one that's kicking the ball. But then, probably more importantly than anything, we've got Chocobo Racing, and Chocobo Racing looks crazy. And that leads me into the second thing that you need to be watching out for in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and that's Chocobos in general. It seems like we've got a wide variety of different types of Chocobo that we're going to be able to work with, more so than we had in the original game, potentially. So, that being the case, there's going to be a lot of different methods and options for traversing the world. There's going to be certain locations I'm pretty certain we won't be able to get to until we find or maybe even breed a specific type of Chocobo. We've not seen anything about Chocobo breeding yet. I'd guess it's going to be a part 3 thing, if anything, but it's worth keeping an eye out for. So yeah, Chocobos. The third thing that I feel like everyone should really be keeping an eye on is Chadley. Now, you're not going to have to look very far for Chadley. Chadley's going to be everywhere. He seems to pop up all the time as a little side quest hub, just like he did in Final Fantasy VII Remake. But there's more to Chadley. 100% there's more to Chadley than we know about, and I think keeping an eye on Chadley is probably going to be a good idea going forwards in the remake project, especially throughout Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And also, there's the possibility that if you don't interact with Chadley enough, you're going to miss things. So, make sure that you keep up to date with Chadley, but don't trust him. Don't you trust him. Next on the list at number 4 is Sephiroth. And this is a pretty obvious one. You need to keep an eye out for Sephiroth. You generally need to keep an eye out for Sephiroth. He could be anywhere. He could pop up at any time and burn your village down. But there's a lot of weird things going on with Sephiroth in the Final Fantasy VII Remake project. Is there more than one Sephiroth? Are we seeing the consciousness of a future Sephiroth reaching back and influencing the past? There are so many different possibilities. I think Sephiroth needs to be watched, but that's a pretty easy one, so I'm going to throw a bonus one in here. And the bonus thing to watch out for is going to be cameos from various characters that we've seen throughout the Final Fantasy VII compilation. We've already seen Cisne, and there are going to be many more people that we could see. I think it's reasonably likely that we're going to see Glenn from the First Soldier story. If you don't know who that is, go and watch my series where I break down each chapter of the First Soldier from Ever Crisis, and that'll give you a clue who Glenn is. But on top of that, we've got people like Lucretia, who shows up in the original Final Fantasy VII. Are we going to see Lucretia again, and is she going to give us even more context on what happened between her, Hojo, and Vincent? And then another character that a lot of people are expecting us to see is Genesis. He's alive, he's underneath Midgar, he's probably been woken up by everything that went on in Remake, I'd guess. I mean, neighbours are being a bit noisy, music's going all night, Destiny's being broken, you're going to wake up. So, we could end up seeing Genesis. Anyway, that's your bonus one. If you can think of any more characters from the Final Fantasy VII compilation that you'd like to appear in Rebirth, or think could appear in Rebirth, leave them in the comments below. But now we're going to get into the business end of things, and at number 5 in my list of things to watch out for in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is Zack. And not only Zack, but the whole Midgar bubble. It seems like at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, something happened and there was kind of a duplication of Midgar potentially, or a splitting of timelines, or a little pocket dimension that was created. There's something going on in Midgar, and it involves Zack, it involves Cloud, it involves Aerith, and it involves Sephiroth. All 4 of those players have been seen in the bubble. What is going on? This is going to be something that you need to keep a big eye out for, because as we've already been told in various interviews from the devs, Zack is going to be used in a way to explore the world of Final Fantasy and explain the world of Final Fantasy VII in a way that we've not seen before. He's going to do a similar job to the Whispers in Remake. So there's definitely some stuff going down in Midgar, definitely stuff that you want to be paying attention to. Make sure that you are. And hand in hand with that, another thing that you need to be keeping watch for at number 6 in our list are the Whispers. Now, there was a lot of questions about whether the Whispers would be back again. Did Sephiroth absorb them completely when we defeated them at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake? It would seem not. It would seem that the Whispers are still popping up everywhere, unless they are directly under Sephiroth's control, which is possible. But at the same time, I think it's more likely that the planet is just able to produce them to protect moments of destiny. And if you see the Whispers about, that means that there's a big event happening that either someone wants to change or someone already has changed. So keep an eye out for the Whispers, because if you see the Whispers, things are happening, have happened, could happen, maybe happen. Oh my god, why is Destiny broken? Keep an eye out. And then finally on the list, coming in at number 7, possibly the most important thing on this list to watch out for, and that is Cloud's sanity. As we played through Final Fantasy VII Remake, Sephiroth made it a big thing to prod Cloud, mess with Cloud, break Cloud, destabilize Cloud, strip things away from Cloud. And that's not going to stop in Rebirth. That is not going to stop. In fact, from the trailers that we've already seen, Sephiroth continues with gusto. So Cloud is not going to have a peaceful time in Rebirth, and the more unstable Cloud is, then I feel the more unstable the world and the narrative will become. An unstable Cloud changes a lot of things, and I know in the OG, Sephiroth does a lot of this stuff to Cloud as well, but he doesn't start doing it until much later in the game. He doesn't really start messing with Cloud properly until we get to like the Shinra basement and the Temple of the Ancients and things like that, whereas in Remake, he starts doing it immediately. As soon as we finish that bombing mission, that's it, Sephiroth's all over him. So I feel like Cloud's sanity could be a massively important thing in this game going forward, and Sephiroth's going to do everything that he can to break it. That's my 7 things that you need to keep an eye out for in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We are on the brink of the game coming out. If you've not checked out my recent theory videos, please make sure that you do go back and check them. I've got some interesting videos talking about Cloud, the Church, and the power of destiny and what it is that Sephiroth's trying to do, so make sure you check them out. There might be one more video before Rebirth comes out where I put out my final predictions for the game going forward. But all the talking's pretty much done now. We've waited 4 years for this, and now it's time. Like I say, hit the like button, subscribe for future content, but more importantly than all of that, have a great day.